Hello world! WaveTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. So, I must say it has been a long time since I was last in this age 13, our Thaumcraft age. Now, if you look over at my left, for some reason, when a block is outside my field of view and it seems like it only happens to the left, it completely disappears. I have no idea why that is, but I guess it's something that I'm going to have to figure out at a later date and time. So let's get a few of our things ready. Yes, that makes perfect sense. And then do a bit more Thaumcraft research. I haven't really done too much of it because, frankly, I didn't have time. Now, I do notice that the texture for these things are a little messed up. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but let's go researching a bit. So we got some warded jars. Some warded jars which are going to store all the aspects when we finally get into higher tier Thaumcraft research. And another thing I suppose would be a good idea to obtain from my other age, not other age, but my other location, is my Thaumonomicon, because it might prove useful where I am also going for some earth shards, etc. Now, one thing I noticed was that if I jump into this cauldron and sustain liberal amounts of damage, hoping I don't get lower down, eventually it will fill up with that meat aspect, which is something that I guess I could use to quote-unquote great effects to get some free aspects, but there's really no point in doing that. So let me get my Thaumonomicon, and then let's do a bit more heavy research. So some of the other things that I'm bringing along with me are some apatite, so that we can have the crystal stuff and the mechanism, as well as a bunch of the shards that we have thus far managed to get. Now, the reason we want shards is because they are a very good source of some of the aspects. Now, I don't think I tried Solum, but considering, sorry, I think it's Fractus. No, the Saxum. Now, this thing I'm a little leery on. I need warded jars, and they're magical, I'd think, but they do not actually use magic. So probably one of the things that we're going to want to use are some tin nuggets to get all the metal joinus out of all of the stuff. Metal joinus, and we do not actually have any aspects on tin nuggets, which is kind of off-putting. You'd think that it'd have some stuff. I guess we have to use the copper nuggets. And there is no metal, so it'd be helpful if there was some sort of hint, but considering, well, maybe it'd be chaining the stuff to in place rather. Let's try mechanism. No, that is not the case. I doubt it's going to be this, but hey, why not? Nope. Paper, no. Fire, no. Chaining, we found with the amber. I guess that is one of the aspects. So let's see. Now we are almost at our binding, which is from the vinculum, and we think discovered reinforced glass with magic, crafting, so we need crafting probably, keep manner of things inside. So we got the keeping, so we need to get the crafting, which would be a nice aspect to get. So there we go. All we'll need are some crafting tables. 10 should suffice for that. Obviously, that is not what we needed. Well, considering that everything is technically crafted. Oh, storage. We can use these. Glass. Yeah, that would have been helpful. So, vacuos. We're going to need some more glass, aren't we? So, might as well, since I am processing some of the stuff that we need, talk about some of the stuff that I've been looking at today. No, not that sort of stuff. Get your mind out of the gutter. So, I was looking at a relatively new mod called Applied Energetics, or Energistics rather, that's how it's pronounced. And it is quite an interesting mod. So, pretty much what it does is that, this isn't in a good spot. It takes let's put it in this way. You all know EE. Obviously, it converts energy and matter into each other and converts them into different forms and whatnot. Applied energistics kind of works on a similar concept. I'm not going to say that it's the exact same concept because by God, it definitely is not. But so say we have our red power stuff. So I have a mag tube currently going between locations so that I can access one data bank of, well, banks, so to speak, of all the items that I need. Now, in applied energistics, all of the items that you have are actually stored in, well, believe it or not, data. They're stored in data, ones and zeros, whatnot, lefty, righty, lefty, etc. And these actually have armor. Good. So you store all this stuff into these data banks, and it's very high density storage. So think of barrels almost like they're on steroids. Then again, they are useful in some of the useful interfaces that you have. As if I'm that far. Come on, man. Come on. So it would make a lot of stuff much more simple than what I have. So you're able to pull from this data bank quite easily, and that's pretty much the whole point of it. Probably explaining this horribly. So it converts everything into pretty much energy. Energy in the forms of ones and zeros. So then the goal is that you take that stuff, let's get that. So you take all of the energy and it travels through cables between different machines, and you can access that energy, automatically craft stuff with that stuff, and have very high density storage. And multiple items can be in the same storage bank. And also you can interact with other things, such as, say, this chest with another bus, and it's quite interesting. I'm not going to lie. I can't really do it justice in the limited time frame that I have right now, but it is definitely something that you would like to see. Okay, what is this? Bees and magic? Okay, so what I was going to go into, the main reason that I am going into the thaumaturgy is the fact that I want to get some of the extra bees components. Obviously, that's not it. Huzzah? Nope. So extra bees, not the extra bees, but actually the thaumic bees is, as you know, it is something that is very highly valuable, and I am doing a horrible job at explaining. Let's try this again. Thaumic Bees is a mod crossover, so it ties in forestry bee aspects as well as thaumaturgy. That's very turgid. Anyway, so I'm guessing that this is the theory that one needs to be able to research, in a sense, those very high level bees. So that's what I'm judging by the fact that it's bees and magic. So it might require flight, which is one of the things that I have. So air shards or feathers. So it's not motus and it's not flight. What did I recently... Okay, if it's anything, it'd be this. So there's volito, and it's not bestia, I doubt. What was it that I just researched? One moment. Okay, so I actually researched a bee. And it's not this one because it doesn't have the charis, but it's the bestiolo. So spider, web, and insect. So we have to research insects, and that's the next part of this. So how do we get insects? I don't think string has that. And it might be... Is it a new thing to this? If only there was a way to search which item has which aspects. That'd be useful. I'd make a program for that, but that'd kind of be useful seeing as Google probably has all of the answers. And I do mean all of the answers. That being said, unless it's incredibly retarded, extra bees should have been able to add in a bunch of aspects to each and every single bee. Well, considering that the marble bee is an extra bees thing, there is going to be some reason. So we got those, but what I'm looking into is the 26 rocky drones that we have here. I am not really going to use the drones for anything, so I guess it's a good thing that I was collecting them instead of, well, I wouldn't say voiding, because technically I'm not jettisoning them into the void after the quarry realizes, hey, this is kind of stupid, can you not do that? It actually just throws them into lava, which is a much more humane way to dispose of these beasts. So let's see. There is something about your world that makes you think trees and bees require more research. So trees, we got, and bees, we got. But there's the research part, which probably requires more knowledge. As that theory just gets blown out the window. Okay, let's figure out what the hay it's supposed to be, unless it's our herba. Wow, that was relatively painless. And then we got the bees and magic discovery, which we're going to have to promptly throw on the ground because things are not as they appear. Ooh. Let's see what this is in our Thaumonomicon, which is right. Ooh, so it's research on a bunch of the bees. So magic frames and probably the ability to create appetite. Man, I am hungry. So this is good. So appetite will probably be the next thing we are researching. Or it's not, judging by the fact that we are going to get a little zappy here. So we'll need to get magic, which is easy enough with the V shards, and Wand of Lightning. Normal wand, turning it into a weapon of destruction. So it's probably going to require... Can you stop blipping in my field of vision? It is kind of distracting. And it only does it in a certain angle, which is kind of infuriating. I have no idea. Maybe it's some sort of thing. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to need to compose a few weapons. I guess this is the ones that I'm going to use, as well as arrows. Why didn't I think of using arrows? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have to use these arrows, and it's not enough to tell them Wand of Lightning, and it's going to need some destruction as well. So let's get the gunpowder, because I think gunpowder is the easiest way to do things, and I think a general mob trap might be useful in the future, unless Fractus. Fractus! Give me Fractus. Yes, so cobblestone. And of course, you're 87% away, because that is just cruel. Let me get some cobblestone and a few more tools, and then we can finish this. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, we got a Wand of Lightning, which should be a bit more zappy than usual, which requires air shards, and a Wand of the Apprentice, as well as Tellum and Potentia. I think I'm going to craft this right away. It's going to throw in a bunch of annoying aspects, but oh well, I haven't researched any way to clear the stuff, and we are going to need some flux for some of the extra bees. Now I want to go back to that hill over there and see what type of flux levels it is generating, because I believe there is a bee that requires a high flux level for it to be able to operate. And the other thing we are going to need is 8 appetite. So let's get our appetite on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got some crystal. We got a bunch of useless stuff here. Well, I suppose if I wanted to create more and more flux, needs more flux, we'll be able to get that fairly easily. Now, I don't think I actually have a good amount of water shards, so I don't think using that would be a very good idea. But let's get a bit of this, and actually let's craft it in over here so that we don't have to worry too much about it having to recharge, because we need, you might not know this, but a wand doesn't need to be fully charged for it to be crafted. I might be, well, in a crafting recipe, I mean, I might learn to regret my words in just a second, but that might not be necessary. Let's go, Wand of the Apprentice. Here we go, and as you see, it actually, you can't see, it doesn't have anything, but let's get our Wand of Lightning. And this is charging up, and there was a raising of the torch, so to speak. Now, I got 21 levels right now, so what I'm thinking would be a fun little exercise is probably going to the end and then going to level 30, enchanting this to see if it's worth using at all. It might kill our environment, but let's see what happens. And we need a bit more magic in our lives anyways. You know, I've learned something while going into the Enderman farm. Two things. One, it's slow. Two, I'm incredibly lazy. So let's go and throw this in and enchant it with a level that will be befitting of a king, which is not likely to show up at any point in time. Let's wait till we get something reasonable. And I learned that, ironically, the fact that I was being lazy meant that it took longer. So I just went and got some more. So using a level 30 enchantment, we got charging 1. What the heck? Okay, that's not exactly the best results I've ever gotten from enchanting. I'm guessing those 30 levels could have been used for something a little more, well, useful. But I guess I can't complain too much. Now, let's hope we can get some magic frames, because I think these magical frames of hope and wonder will be a lot better. Cognito, or we can use Aquia, because that's cool too. And also the Messia. And this is for concentrated compound, which is probably used in either the Golemancy appetite by enriching the crafted material with something that crops may appreciate. So enriching appetite. Increase my appetite, dang it. Okay, so that doesn't work. So enriching it by probably giving us Victus, or it must be soil. Crops, obviously it's soil, duh. Let's get away our magical aspects over there, and we're going to need to get a bit of dirt for this. And this might be an extra bees things, but let's see. I don't know. Why would it be an extra bees aspect? It's a regular forestry. No, it must be, since it is a compound. Okay. Concentrated compound by using appetite and this. So, discovered a method to stretch your reserves of appetite to the limits through the use of magic. By infusing the mixture created by crushing the appetite crystals with dirt with the aspects of the harvest, you can create additional reserves of it. This mixture is then diluted with sand to produce the normal variety of fertilizer. This can't be... Okay, so it's basically doubles appetite, so to speak. So what we can do is throw appetite into here. I doubt it'll stick. Will you stick in there? Yes, you actually do. So we require Messia for that, for the magical stuff. Let's see, magical compound. Apparently there's a lot of magical stuff. That might be interesting. Magenta alchemical bag. I can't create that currently, can I? That is unfortunate. Okay, so I guess the only way to do that is by finding Messia in this Messia of things. So wheat will need 6 wheat. And we'll probably need a bit of water, so let's get this. I'd love a golem for this. And did that actually work? Obviously not. Bubble, bubble, toil of trouble. And I used too many. Oops. Up. I did it again. Okay, concentrated compound. Let's just use it like this. We get 6 fertilizer using concentrated compound, or 12 by using ash. So that doesn't extend it by straight 2k, but it is enough. Now let's actually use this, since there's no way to recover the aspects. And we might be able to use this because it's magical. Okay, so hopefully we get something more bee related than that. Frames. What aspects does the magic frame have? Let's check. Obviously we can't check that, so we need to check a normal type of frame and see what aspects that it may contain, because if it has any sort of aspects, so it needs the bees probably, and conversion. Conversion is at hand. Wahaha. Okay, so we got an unknown theory using the conversion. and obviously using so much of it that it's just going to be very, oh, wand of equal trade. Okay, I'll craft this quickly and see if we get anything fun. Achievement get! Not enough picks. Okay, wand of equal trade will probably be a little more useful than other things, and let's refill this a bit so that we'll be able to do some more thaumaturgy. Okay, wand of equal trade requires vis, instrumentum, and permutatio, and we'll be able to change stuff. Okay, so I don't think for now would be a good thing. Okay. Right-clicking will transform a whole swath of blocks. Okay, so you have to contain the target block for you to be able to do anything. So that is understandable. Now this stuff I'm really interested in. I really want to be able to, because the main objective of all this Thaumcraft research is the ability to make something called the Aura Bee, which is going to probably require a few, yeah, we might want to work on our apiary setup in a bit, but let's focus on this first of all. So, wand of equal trade, we do not need, but let's go and throw in a few drones to get this Bestiolo and the aura. Volito, and unfortunately it is working on the Volito. Do we have any other flight ones that we brought? No, unfortunately we did not. But it's all requiring this Mota stuff. Oh, an arcane levitator. That is going to be fun. I can think of a few useful uses in our base, especially with, maybe it'd be ow. Can you give me my leg back? I'd kind of like it. No? Okay. Limp. 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 Okay, so enough tomfoolery, and probably more with not doing that. We're going to need a few of these things. Now, I don't think our air shard is the most plentiful of shards that we got in our quarry setup, but it is worth a shot. I am already at my used memory limit, which is a bit unsettling considering, but let's see. Air shards are definitely not the most plentiful things that we have around, so we're going to have to use them sparingly. We will need these air shards afterwards for some other stuff. So let's just finish this research for the arcane levitator and then see if we can work on an apiary or alveary setup that'll help us a lot with our mutation stuff, making sure that we can easily breed stuff so that we don't have to worry too much about all that annoyances and etc. Okay, we got our arcane levitator finally discovered, and I don't know if it's actually messed up with how it was before. Anyways, it's an interesting device. It's going to require a bunch of aspects and a Nitor. We have all of that. We need an arcane wood block, which requires the arcane work table and either using great wood or oak and etc. So what I think I'm going to do is make sure that our aura node over there is dangerous enough. Ooh, we got a thing over there which is not going to be fun. Right click. Let's see. It looks like a fire wisp. And this wand is quite interesting. It doesn't charge too fast, which I can... there we go. Okay, so where's that aspect? Here we go. We got a wispy essence, and it looks like a mutatio type, and this is a very high flux over here. In fact, I believe this is even generating flux. And it's way over there, and it seems that I already stripped this place bare, so we don't need to look at it. And dang, that is evil looking. I think that's high enough for the bees that we're going to need in the future. But speaking about bees, nice segue way, let's move onwards. Okay, so what I'm going to do is place this carpenter here, and that is going to be unfortunate, isn't it? And it's full of seed oil. Okay, so what I'm going to do is fail miserably, then laugh about it later. Okay, let's go with that. So let's put this iron transport pipe in here so that it doesn't go into the machine that I stupidly placed. And let's get our liquid ducts, which are not actually needed right now. What did we take away? There we go. Yes, right. Project table, right. Let's put our project table right here and replace it. Instead of having it there, we'll have this here and house all of our impregnated frames stuff, miscellaneous, etc., as well as our soul frame kit, so that we'll be able to have that. So what we'll put in here are oak, and we'll put it as a recipe so that we can make all of the sticks that will be necessary. That being said, we are going to need a bit of energy, so we need to pull out 2, which is going to, for some reason, I think need some minor modifications, and not the ones that require a pick, because that'd just be too easy. So there are actually a few blocks that are added by the extra bees for the alveary. So one of them is actually the mutator. So what the mutator does is it takes some sort of secondary reagent, say for instance uranium, and ups the mutation chance for the bee that is currently in the alveary for when it dies will just completely mutate. So for instance, there's one bee that requires has a 5% chance of mutating, and well, uranium, it increases that one number by 500%. It's not an additive 500%, but it's, say, for instance, the 5, or rather, it's multiplied by 10, duh. So if it's the 5%, it'll be 50% instead. But if you add 2 of them, it's an additive, so it'd be a 95% chance. So think of it instead of that as a plus 900% or something. We are the 900%. Wait a second. Okay, there's another thing. Obviously, there's the frame housing, which is also pretty important. Now, what I'm using the frame housing for, if we actually get the actual thing, is it like this instead? Yes. Now, we'll be able to put some other things in these frame housings. So, I've removed a bunch of blocks from one of the alvearies that we have, and it's going to pretty much be the testing alveary, so to speak. So, let's get a bunch of frames and make these into chocolate frames. So what chocolate frames do, if we actually have, let's see, chocolate frames require 4 pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. What chocolate frames do is that they actually limit the life that the bee has. So it takes a set amount of life from it. I am really horrible at explaining this, so let's just do a demonstration, shall we? Let's be a little modest here, shall we? One of the bees that we need to breed together, one of the combinations, is to have a modest bee and a demonic bee together. This will get some sort of combination that I am not too sure of because I am not too cheaty, but it seems pretty obvious. One is hot as hell, the other is hot as a desert. So we have to wait for this monstrosity to get back in shape. There we go. So as you see, it's actually an alveary, even though the bottom part doesn't look like it. And let's fill 3 of these with chocolate, shall we? And put mutators here, which is going to be our uranium. Uranium has that 50% increase, so to speak. So we'll need to take the steadfast, which is going to be eventually our chocolate loving thing, and we'll put the alveary in here, and this should drop life very quickly. Now this for some reason is a hostile environment. I do not know why that is, seeing as it's arid up. How's it arid up? Let's actually get a better one, shall we? Or just mutate put this one so that it has the both 4, since it doesn't really matter, since, well, I said that the inoculator doesn't really work on the queen earlier, but I pretty much didn't say the entire truth in the fact that it does work on the queen, but it does not work on the descendants of the queen. So if I were trying to get both of basically all the babies of this mutant thing to just go and say, hey, you have both tolerance +2, that wouldn't work. But this queen will end up with a both 2. So that works out pretty well, seeing as we're just wanting to mutate it. Okay, now that our bee is actually good with temperature, not humidity, this should work a bit faster. Now there are 3 chocolate frames, so it should easily enough just quickly eat through this unnatural abomination of bee breeding neuroscience. So eventually, I'm not sure how often it actually checks whether it needs to limit its life a bit. I'd have to check that math a bit, but look at how fast that's going. Probably just a few more chocolate frames in it, and then it'd just be bam, you're dead. Even, I guess it wouldn't really work for the long life ones, because those are, quite frankly, a little long. Cobblestone is not getting jettisoned. That is a bit of a predicament. Let's go with full stack and actually throw some into here. So it's getting backlogged. I guess there should be some method to prevent such a backlog in the future, but I'm guessing it's backlogged with phosphor for some despicable reason. The fact that this is backlogged with phosphor doesn't surprise me, but we'll just have to see how that goes. So let's wait for this to die. And here we go. We got demonic, modest, and modest. So what this is telling me is that demonic is not likely to be one of the bees that's actually supposed to mutate. And I'm probably going to have to look it up. It's probably the frugal strain or some other sort of modest thing. Yeah, the frugal strain. That might actually require fiendish. So maybe next time I'll not be an idiot and waste my uranium and actually do a bit more homework before I try to be a bee breeder. Yeah, let's go with that. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Work, dag nabbit. Oh, there we go. WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day.